What's up guys, welcome back to another Paladins video. Sorry I haven't posted in a bit, I've been kinda busy. I won't bore you with the details though since I know you all want to hear what OB45 has to offer, and like always, I got you covered. Let's get some of the smaller things out of the way first. All achievements will now reward 1000 essence. If you already did some of them, you'll have the essence given to you. Next up, they're adding new maps to the test rotation. They're adding two new ones, Dark Crossing and Arid. Dark Crossing reminds me of Bowser's Castle, and Arid looks really cool since they made it with fighting from boat to boat in mind, and I think that's really unique. There's also a revamp of Grotto, which is a map that is currently in the test queue. Out of all the test maps I've played, this one is by far my favorite. It just has so much verticality, and I go Mave whenever I play it. Unfortunately, I'm not sure I'm gonna get much fun out of Mave when this revamp hits, but we'll get into that in a bit. There are two new rare quality skins coming. First is Baroness for Tyra. This looks really cool, and since it does look really cool, you'll probably be a bit disappointed to know that it only comes from the Colossal chest. But at least there is a skin coming for direct purchase, and that's Andro's Exalted skin. People liked the Exalted weapon, so they're giving it a skin and making the gun rarity rare. I don't know if the skin will make the weapon purchasable with crystals only, so if you don't have it already, I'd go ahead and spend the gold on it to be safe while it's just a green. People have been asking for an Andro skin for a while now, so it's great that they finally went and gave him one, even if it's only a rare. Now let's talk balance. It's pretty much all nerfs, but most of it is pretty justifiable. Only most though. Let's start with Buck. His Bounce House legendary card is pretty crazy right now. He's jumping everywhere all the time on a really low cooldown. So since that's the case, they've gone and made it so when you pick this card, Heroic Leap gets 2 seconds added to the cooldown. This will hopefully make him a bit more manageable. Next up is Eevee. Ice Block will now grant immunity to all debuffs. If you have a debuff on you and you enter the Ice Block, it will cleanse it off. Now on to Grok, who has been a complete and utter monster lately. He feels like a damage that was just thrown into the support category now. Shock Pulse will now only slow each target once per cast, so no more of it bouncing around and slowing you multiple times. That was really annoying, and it basically made you into a sitting duck, even with resilience sometimes, so I'm super glad they went ahead and addressed it. Pip got a small quality of life fix. His healing potion projectile size was reduced by 50%, so it'll be easier to keep it from hitting deployables and stuff like that. Keep in mind, this is not the splash radius getting reduced, it's just the small little projectile that you throw. Once it detonates, it's the same splash radius. Next is Torvald, who is getting his shield health reduced from 6,000 to 5,000. Wrecker is pretty strong, so I don't think this was too needed, but I really doubt it's going to hurt him much in the long run. On to Tyra. Her legendary card First Blood is getting its lifesteal bumped up from 20 to 30%. So if you go ahead and get tier 3 life rip on top of this, you can have up to 60% lifesteal. I love this. Tyra needs to stand her ground and fight to be effective, and all this lifesteal really helps her do that without having to try super hard to stay safe and alive. Now we have Ying, who has been really good lately thanks to Lifelike effectively doubling her healing output. She can keep 3 tanks alive basically on her own with it. I love Ying, but I gotta admit, it can be a bit much. They're making it so when you pick this card, your illusions heal 30% less. So you're still getting much more healing out than you would without the card, but you're not doing an obscene amount of it. Last but not least, we have Maeve. Man, I really can't believe they did this. You remember how in one of my videos I said I didn't think Hi-Rez would pull a Blizzard and gut a really high skill character just because people whined instead of learning how to deal with it? And there are many ways, if I may add, to deal with it. Well, they really disappointed me here because they are gutting one of the most fun characters they have ever added to this game, even though she takes a pretty high amount of skill to make the most of. Here's everything they did. 9 lives no longer heals by default. Artful Dodger now does that as well as cleanses debuffs. It makes the card better, but at what real cost? Pounce got its damage reduced from 600 to 500, so now the burst combo will do 2,300 max instead of 2,400. So that right there is not so bad. But its range was also reduced from 70 to 50. That's not it though. They also hit Prowl. Its movement speed bonus is being reduced from 80 to 65%, and the cooldown is going up from 9 to 12 seconds. If they didn't touch Prowl, I could have easily accepted all of this, but they touched Prowl as well as did all of this, and that's just way too much. I'm probably going to make a separate video about this sometime after the PTS goes live later tonight, and I try Maeve out. but I just gotta say this is the absolute worst way to go about nerfing any character. Not once in all the games I've ever played have I seen an instance where nerfing something this much across multiple of its areas has ever been the right thing to do. Ever. It makes it even worse that this was done solely because people who refused to learn how to counter her complained everywhere they could to get them to do it. Now, I could be overreacting, but with my prior experience with stuff like this, I know I'm probably not. Again, I'm gonna try her out on the PTS before I go and make a separate video going over why this is really bad and why they should revert it. If they never revert it, then I guess I don't have to make that how to counter Maeve video, because who wouldn't be able to after this, honestly. Moving on, we have what everyone is interested in, the new character. So your voices have been heard. They've finally gone and given us our first female frontline, Inara the Stone Warden. This girl is from a race of earth-bending giants. She's about average height for her species, being about 2 Maeves stacked on top of each other. She has 4,400 health and some really interesting abilities. So first we have her weapon, her stone spear. It fires a burst of 3 rocks that deal up to 225 damage each, and each burst consumes 1 of her 5 ammo. It has basically infinite range, but it does also have damage fall off. Her right click is Earthen Guard. You enter a defensive state that lasts 5 seconds. During this, you and your deployables take 30% reduced damage. Then we have her Q Impasse. This deploys a rock wall that grows out of the ground and lasts for 5 seconds. Then there's her F, Warder's Field. You put down a stone obelisk at your feet that pulses. These pulses slow enemies for 60% and deal 150 damage per second. Finally, we have her ult, which is really badass. Just look at this. She floats in the air, throws her spear, it goes through all shields, and when it hits, it does a big AoE stun. It also does about 200 damage to those it hits. Using this ult just looks so cool. I cannot wait. As for her legendary cards, we have Mother's Grace. This is the default one. It gives Earthen Guard 20% more damage reduction, boosting the total up to 50%. Then there's Treacherous Ground. This makes Warder's Field cripple. Lastly, we have Tremors. This reduces the cooldown of Impasse by 7 seconds, and I'm pretty sure Impasse has a cooldown of 14-15 base. As for our basic cards, I'm just going to go ahead and put them up on screen. Don't really want to read all that. There's also a weekend event. It runs from today to Sunday. Every first win of the day gives Radiant Chests. You can get 3 a day, so 9 total for the weekend. If you need Essence for Inara, this is a good way to get some, so don't pass it up. And that's pretty much it, guys. I want to thank you all for watching. I very much appreciate it, and I'm going to see you guys later. Bye!